Well, it's been 2 days since the deadly Soweto Tavern killings, and the victims' blood still stains the ground. Nomzamo section in Orlando, Soweto is reeling. 15 people died when we understand 5 gunmen just walked in and opened fire with AK-47s. Police Minister Bheki Cele is promising retribution, and he is due to send a top unit into that area this evening. eNCA's Moloko Moloto is at the Orlando police station, and he joins me now. Moloko, thank you so much. Have the Amabarete arrived in Soweto yet?
Well, hello, Sally. Well, perhaps I should not confirm this because I have not seen them myself. We just left the area of that section of Nomzamo about 7 or 10 minutes ago, and there was no police visibility at the time. But as you can see behind me, we are now at the Orlando police station, just a few kilometers from Nomzamo section. Maybe if I can just step out of the shot so that my colleague Kamuhelo can show you these cars. These are the vehicles of the JMPD police, but also I can see a few SAPS vans. Of course, the Amabarete, the tactical response team police officers, usually they are known for their signature berets. I have not seen any of them, but earlier, after the minister, Bheki Cele, had committed that they will be coming here, I reached out to his spokesperson, Lorenzo Temba, to ask as to whether they will be in this area today, and indeed she confirms that they are coming here. She was not willing to tell us exactly what time and how many of them would be deploying here, will be deployed here, saying it's more an operational matter. Of course, the people of Nomzamo, Sally, would surely be welcoming them because they were telling us that their area actually is a crime scene. Every day they say there are gunshots right in front of their doors, and they were really feeling helpless, and they kind of like feel that the killing of these 15 people kind of like spotlighted this crisis that they have been living through over the years. They are telling us every single day they are, once it's dawn, it becomes impossible for them to step outside their houses, Sally. So what we are seeing these people here, my assumption is that perhaps they are preparing to be going to Nomzamo, where they will be patrolling. We heard earlier the executive mayor saying that they're going to be joining the SAPS.
Have you, and I know that you've spoken to family members of the people who were killed in the early hours of Sunday morning, have you been able to get any sense on what a possible motive might be? You know, crime is one thing, but my understanding is nothing was taken from the patrons, and that these men just stormed in with AK-47s and mowed people down.
Well, Sally, firstly, the officials, the minister Bheki Cele, was really not willing to speculate in terms of the motive, but of course he dismissed suggestions that this perhaps could be a terror attack, as the Qatari government, when they issued their message of condolences in their statement, kind of like suggested that this could be a terror attack. And the families, obviously, we spoke to the family of a 19-year-old Simtembile Gamede, who was among those who died on that fateful day. And we spoke to the mother, who was really overcome by emotions when she was telling us that, look, this was my only son, and I was really hoping that he would grow up to become a man. Perhaps let's listen to the grieving mother, Sally.
He was your only child.
Moloko, just translate. I mean, clearly her distress is there. Yeah?
Was just saying, oh, sorry, I beg pardon there, Sally. The grieving mother, really, she is just saying she's hurting. She's hurting because this is her only son. And she's now left with, I think, 2 children, if I'm not mistaken. And as she was telling us earlier, it would be difficult for her to forgive the murderers.
Absolutely. Just, yeah, awful. You've also spoken to a father. Just tell us a little bit more about him.
Indeed, we spoke to the father of the young star, Gamede, who also could not hold his tears. And he was telling us that, look, my son had dropped out of school. He was doing grade 10. And just on the day he died, he had told the family that actually he intended to go back to school because he was worried about the future. And the father was really telling us about the scene when he arrived at the crime scene, seeing his child and other children or people lying there dead, and he just felt helpless. Let's listen to the father of the 19-year-old.
Bese phumile esikolweni kodwa bese ngela langa atshona ngalo ebesithi uzawuphinda usezabuyela esikolweni ngela langa azotshona ngalo ethi ndizawubuyela esikolweni apha bese buyele khona kusebholeni ethi nasesikolweni nisezabuyela esikolweni.
Well, Sally, that is the father of the young star, 19-year-old Simtembele Gamete, who perished among 15 other people in Soweto. But we also proceeded to speak to another family that had lost 2 siblings. These are young people who originally come from Umzimkulu in KwaZulu-Natal. One of them died at the scene during the shootout, and we are told that the other one died hours later after he had been admitted in hospital. And the parents really distraught. The mother really, while of course they were willing to speak to us, they really did not have the courage to speak to us on camera. We only spoke to the cousin who was just telling us the story of how these 2 siblings, the brothers, were so close to their father to an extent that you would, if you didn't know that it was their father, he was their father, you would assume that they were brothers and they were friends. So they feel distraught at the fact that they lost 2 members of the family. And lastly, they told us that actually in that particular street, there are 5 people who perished on that night along with the 15 others, Sally.
Horrific, horrific story. We know that the police minister is saying that they cannot draw a link between any of these 3 tavern shootings that happened. We know that in Katlehong, 2 people were killed. That seemed to be, from what we've heard, a lone gunman who walked in, also opening fire. But interestingly, in connection with the Soweto shooting, the police minister saying they're looking for 5 suspects from Nongoma in KwaZulu-Natal. Now that, if I'm not mistaken, Moloko, is an area known for taxi violence. Tell me a little bit more about what we know about Nongoma.
Well, Sally, at least what we know is that the confirmation is coming from the minister, Police Minister Bekitele, who's telling us that a majority of those who perished or those who sustained injuries have, an origin in Nongoma. And also the 5 suspects that he says police are looking for, he says they also come from Nongoma. However, he was really reluctant to tell us what the motive could be, but committing that the police are certainly going to make arrests. And of course, Ali, considering the fact that these killings in Soweto coincided with the killings of 2 others in Katlehong, in Ekurhuleni, but also 4 other people were killed in Pietermaritzburg. So we therefore, as media, wanted to know whether the minister can be able to link those killings, but also whether, considering the fact that the state security agencies, you know, perhaps whether they, or crime intelligence, whether they have, you know, been caught napping. We wanted to know whether they could not detect this particular crimes from happening. And the minister was saying, look, it's understandable, the frustrations that South Africans may have, but South Africans should know that police oftentimes tend to thwart crimes or criminal activities which the criminals would be planning, even to so much that it's just that they don't come out to tell South Africans that such and such information would have been received through those structures. But he's saying that they are utilizing those structures to come after these criminals. And of course, he understands the frustrations that they seem to be reacting after the act.
Yeah, there's plenty more still to come on the story, and thank you very much for that update. Our reporter in Soweto, Moloko Moloto. No signs as yet, or as of 7 o'clock, that the Amabareti had arrived, but we know that the police ministry is confirming they will be there this evening.